Love has a way of making fools of us all. It blinds us, lifts us, makes us feel invincible. And yet, in the blink of an eye, it can shatter into a million unrecognizable pieces. I used to believe in fairy tales. In the kind of love that withstands time, trials, and temptations. When I met Ryan, I was convinced I had found it. I was wrong. Ryan and I met at a friend's wedding. It was one of those serendipitous moments that seem like they were written in the stars. I was standing near the bar, sipping on champagne, watching the bride and groom dance, when he approached me with a crooked smile and an easy charm. "Beautiful night, isn't it?" he said, handing me a fresh drink as if he already knew I was about to finish mine. That was Ryan, thoughtful, confident, magnetic. He had a presence that filled the room without trying too hard. We talked for hours that night. About life, dreams, fears. The conversation was effortless, like we had known each other forever. When he asked for my number, there wasn't a doubt in my mind. One date led to another, and soon Ryan became the center of my world. He was the kind of man who made grand gestures. Roses for no reason, love notes tucked under my pillow, whispered promises under the moonlight. I believed every word he said. And why wouldn't I? He gave me no reason to doubt him. After 2 years of dating, he proposed in the most breathtaking way. We were on vacation in Santorini, standing on the edge of a cliffside resort, the ocean stretching endlessly before us. "I don't want a life without you, Sophia," he whispered, dropping to one knee. "Marry me." Tears blurred my vision as I nodded, my heart soaring. In that moment there was no doubt. I had found my forever. We got married 6 months later in a dreamy ceremony, surrounded by family, friends, and laughter. Ryan held my hands at the altar, looking at me like I was the only woman in the world. I thought I was safe. I thought our love was indestructible. The first few years were bliss. We traveled, made love until the early hours of the morning, built a home filled with laughter and warmth. Ryan was everything I had ever wanted: attentive, passionate, supportive. When I fell sick with the flu, he took care of me like I was made of glass, bringing me soup and holding me close until I fell asleep. When I got promoted at work, he celebrated as if my success was his own. I never questioned his loyalty. Not once. Then she came back. Her name was Emily. I knew about her, of course. Ryan had told me about her during one of our late-night conversations in the beginning of our relationship. "She was my first real love," he had said. "We were together for 4 years. But it didn't work out." I never pressed for details. I trusted him. After all, Emily was a thing of the past. Or so I thought. It started subtly. A shift in his energy. The way his phone became an extension of his hand, his fingers moving rapidly across the screen when he thought I wasn't looking. Then came the distance. He started working late, coming home exhausted, his kisses brief, his touch absent-minded. I told myself it was just stress. Every marriage has its ups and downs, right? But one night while he was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. A single name flashed across the screen. Emily. My heart pounded in my chest. I had never been the type to invade his privacy, but something in me, something primal, something desperate, told me to look. I picked up the phone. My fingers trembled as I unlocked it. And then I saw everything. "Emily, I miss you. Last night was unforgettable. Ryan, I miss you too. I can't stop thinking about you. Emily, when can I see you again? Ryan, I just need to figure things out." My breath hitched. My world tilted. The walls of our perfect home suddenly felt suffocating. This wasn't just an affair. This wasn't some meaningless fling. He loved her. And he was planning to leave me. I don't remember how long I stood there, staring at those words, my vision blurring with unshed tears. I only remember the sound of the shower turning off, the bathroom door opening, and Ryan stepping out, rubbing a towel through his damp hair. He looked up and froze when he saw my face. "What's wrong?" His voice was cautious, hesitant. I held up his phone. "Emily." The blood drained from his face. "Sophia, I don't." My voice was barely a whisper, but it held all the fury of a storm. "Just tell me the truth." He exhaled shakily, running a hand through his hair. It's complicated. Complicated. That word shattered whatever fragile hope I had left. She was my first love, he said, his voice thick with something that sounded like regret. I didn't plan for this to happen. I love you, but I never stopped loving her. The words sliced through me like a blade. I had given him everything. My heart, my trust, my life. And in return he had given me this. A love that wasn't enough. I don't remember much after that. Only that I walked out of the bedroom, out of our house, out of the life I thought was mine. The cold night air hit my skin, but I felt nothing. The man who once proved his love in every possible way had just shattered it with 6 words. I never stopped loving her. And for the first time I realized, love wasn't the problem. Loyalty was. The night I walked out of our house I had no plan, no destination, just an overwhelming need to escape. The cold air bit at my skin, but I barely felt it. My body moved on autopilot while my mind reeled from Ryan's confession. I never stopped loving her. Those 6 words played on a relentless loop, each repetition cutting deeper than the last. I ended up at a hotel, the walls closing in around me as I sat on the edge of the bed, my phone clutched in my shaking hands. My notifications were flooded with missed calls and messages from Ryan. Ryan, Sophia, please come home. Ryan, I didn't mean to hurt you. Ryan, we need to talk. Ryan, please. I love you. I tossed the phone onto the bed as a bitter laugh escaped my lips. What kind of love does this to someone? I should have been crying. I should have been devastated. But there was only numbness. For the first time in years I was utterly alone. Sleep never came. The next morning I forced myself to shower, to get dressed, to pretend that my world hadn't just imploded. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, searching for the woman I used to be before Ryan. She wasn't there. Instead there was a stranger, eyes hollow, lips pressed into a thin line, shoulders stiff with exhaustion. I needed answers. With a deep breath I grabbed my phone and called the one person who might have them. Emily's voice was soft when she picked up. Hello. There was hesitation in her tone, like she knew exactly who was calling. I gripped the phone tighter. It's Sophia. Pause. Things I was expecting this. I clenched my jaw. Meet me. Now. To my surprise she agreed. We settled on a quiet cafe across town, far from prying eyes. I arrived first, my nerves buzzing with anticipation. Then she walked in. Emily was beautiful. The kind of effortless beauty that didn't need enhancements. Her presence was quiet but commanding, and I hated that I immediately understood why Ryan was drawn to her. She slid into the seat across from me, her fingers wrapped around a coffee cup like she wasn't about to shatter my life even further. I wasted no time. How long? Her expression didn't change. A few months. A few months. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. All the late nights, the distant gazes, the excuses, it all made sense now. Why? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. Emily sighed. Because he came to me. My breath caught. What? She held my gaze. Ryan found me. Not the other way around. My stomach twisted. You're lying. She shook her head. I wish I were. The truth settled over me like a suffocating weight. Ryan hadn't just stumbled into an affair. He had searched for it. For her. I gritted my teeth. Are you in love with him? She hesitated. Just for a moment. But that was enough. I let out a sharp breath, pushing back my chair as I stood. You can have him. Emily frowned. Sophia, I held up a hand. I don't need your pity. I just needed to see the woman he threw everything away for. Without another word I walked out. And this time I didn't look back. I returned home later that evening. Not because I wanted to see Ryan. Not because I forgave him. But because I needed closure. I found him sitting on the couch, head in his hands. The moment he saw me he shot up, eyes filled with relief. Sophia, why did you do it? I cut him off, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling heavily. I don't know. Bullshit. He flinched. You chose this, Ryan. I continued. You chose to find her. To lie to me. To betray me. He swallowed hard. I didn't mean to fall back in love with her. I let out a cold laugh. Back in love. Ryan's face crumbled. I love you, Sophia. I swear I do. Then why wasn't I enough? Silence. That silence spoke louder than any excuse he could have given. And that was the moment I knew. Our marriage was over. I packed my bags that night. Ryan tried to stop me, begged me to stay, promised he would cut Emily off for good. But I wasn't interested in being someone's second choice. I hope she was worth it, I said, standing by the door, my suitcase in hand. Ryan's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She wasn't. I shook my head. Then why did you destroy us for her? He had no answer. I walked out, the sound of the door closing behind me marking the end of everything we had built. But as I stepped into the night, I realized something. This wasn't just the end. It was the beginning. The moment I walked out of that house, something inside me shifted. I wasn't just leaving Ryan, I was leaving behind the version of myself who had spent years believing in a love that never truly existed. I had given him my heart, my trust, my life. And he had chosen someone else. But now I was choosing myself. The first few weeks were the hardest. I moved into a small apartment across town, far enough from the places that held too many memories. The silence was unbearable at first. I had spent years sharing a home, a bed, a life with someone, and now it was just me. Loneliness wrapped itself around me like a suffocating fog. But I refused to let it consume me. I threw myself into work, taking on extra projects and late-night shifts just to keep my mind occupied. I started running every morning, letting the burn in my muscles distract me from the ache in my chest. I signed up for painting classes, something I had always wanted to do but never had the time for. Slowly, the pieces of myself that I had lost in that marriage began to surface again. And then something unexpected happened. One evening, as I was sipping on a glass of wine after a long day at work, my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. Unknown. Hey Sophia. Can we talk? I stared at the screen, my heart hammering in my chest. It was Emily. For a long moment I considered ignoring it. I had no interest in revisiting the past. But curiosity won. Me, what do you want? Emily, I think you deserve to know the truth about Ryan. I frowned, my fingers hesitating over the keyboard. Me, I already know the truth. He cheated. End of story. Emily, no. There's more. A chill ran down my spine. I exhaled sharply and typed back. Me, fine. Meet me at the coffee shop on 8th tomorrow at 6 p.m. Whatever she had to say, I was ready. Or so I thought. The next evening I arrived at the cafe early, my nerves buzzing with anticipation. Emily walked in a few minutes later, her expression unreadable. She sat down across from me, stirring her coffee absently. I know you probably hate me, she said after a long silence. I folded my arms. I don't think about you enough to hate you. She flinched but nodded. Fair enough. Why are we here, Emily? I asked, cutting to the chase. She took a deep breath. Ryan lied to both of us. My stomach twisted. What do you mean? She hesitated before pulling out her phone and sliding it across the table. My breath caught as I stared at the screen. A string of messages. From Ryan. Ryan, I'm not happy with her. Ryan, I don't love her anymore. Ryan, I should have never married her. Ryan, we'll be together soon. Just wait for me. Each word was a knife to the gut. These are from before I even knew he was married, Emily said softly. He made it sound like you were the problem. Like you were suffocating him, holding him back. I clenched my fist. So what? You still went along with it. She sighed. Yeah. And I regret it. I narrowed my eyes. Why are you telling me this now? She hesitated. Then she looked me straight in the eye. Because he did the same thing to me. My pulse quickened. What? Emily exhaled shakily. After you left, we were together. First it was great. He made me feel like I was the one he truly wanted. She swallowed hard. But then the messages started. She unlocked her phone again, scrolling down to newer messages. Ryan, I miss Sophia. I think I made a mistake. Ryan, she was my wife. I can't just forget her. Ryan, I need to see her. A cold wave of realization washed over me. Ryan wasn't a man who had been torn between two great loves. He was a man who didn't know how to be alone. He had destroyed our marriage for a fantasy, and when reality set in, he started looking for his next escape. Wow, I whispered, shaking my head. I was nothing more than a safety net to him. Emily nodded, a sad smile on her lips. So was I. For the first time, I saw her not as the woman who stole my husband, but as another victim of his selfishness. And something inside me shifted. I wasn't the broken woman Ryan had left behind. I was the woman who had survived him. That night as I lay in bed, I thought about what Emily had said. I could expose Ryan. Ruin him. Show the world what kind of man he truly was. But then I realized something. He wasn't worth it. Revenge would keep me tied to him. And I was done letting him take up space in my life. The real revenge was moving on. Thriving. Becoming someone he could never touch again. The next morning I blocked his number. Deleted his photos. Erased every trace of him from my world. And for the first time in months I felt free. Because Ryan may have betrayed me. But he didn't break me. I was just getting started. Freedom is a strange thing. I had spent so long being consumed by my marriage, by Ryan's betrayal, by the idea that love was supposed to be forever. And yet when I finally let go, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Ryan had been erased from my life. I didn't block him out of anger or spite, I did it for myself. He had taken too much from me already. He didn't deserve another second of my time. But moving on wasn't as simple as hitting delete. Now I had to figure out who I was without him. I threw myself into work, pouring all my energy into my career. Late nights at the office didn't bother me anymore, I welcomed them. Every extra hour spent on a project, every successful deal closed, was a reminder that I was more than just someone's wife. Then one evening my boss called me into her office. Sophia, there's an opportunity one want to discuss with you, she said, tapping her pen against her desk. It's a big one. I leaned forward, intrigued. There's a high-profile position opening at our firm's London branch, she continued. I think you'd be perfect for it. London. A fresh start. A chance to rebuild somewhere new, away from all the memories of Ryan, of our marriage, of the life I had lost. It wasn't just an opportunity. It was fate. The night before I was supposed to fly out, I received a message from an unknown number. At first I considered ignoring it. But something in me, the part that craved closure, made me open it. Ryan, I heard you're leaving. Ryan, Sophia, please talk to me before you go. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Of course. Of course he was reaching out now. I stared at the message for a long time before typing my response. Me, there's nothing left to say. And just like that I hit block for the last time. I wasn't running away from my past. I was walking toward my future. Moving to London was the best decision I had ever made. The moment I landed, I felt lighter, like I had left the weight of my past behind in another life. My new job was demanding, but I thrived in the challenge. I made new friends, explored new places, and found joy in the smallest things. Morning walks by the Thames, late-night wine tastings, Sunday afternoons spent lost in bookstores. For the first time in years I was truly living. Then one evening something unexpected happened. It was a Friday night and my friend Lily had dragged me to a rooftop bar overlooking the city. You work too much, she teased, handing me a cocktail. Tonight you're letting loose. I laughed, rolling my eyes. Fine. But I'm not looking for anything serious. She smirked. Who said anything about serious? That's when I noticed him. Tall, dark-haired, with an easy confidence and a smile that sent a shiver down my spine. Our eyes met across the bar and for a second, it was like the rest of the world faded away. He walked over, his gaze locked onto mine. Did it hurt? He asked, his voice smooth, playful. I raised a brow. Let me guess, you're about to say when I fell from heaven? He chuckled. Well, when you walked into this bar and stole my attention. I laughed, shaking my head. That was terrible. But it worked, he said, grinning. I'm Noah. Sophia. Nice to meet you, Sophia. He lifted his glass. To new beginnings? I hesitated. For so long I had been afraid to open my heart again. But maybe, just maybe, it was time. I clinked my glass against his. To new beginnings. And just like that, my story started again. Love had burned me once before. It had left scars I wasn't sure would ever fade. But Noah was different. He was effortless laughter and quiet understanding. He didn't rush me, didn't push me beyond what I was ready for. With him I felt safe in a way I hadn't in a long time. But no matter how much I tried to move forward, my past still lingered in the shadows. Noah and I started seeing each other regularly. At first it was just casual dinners, walks through the city, deep conversations over late-night coffee. But slowly the walls I had built around my heart started to crack. One night, as we sat on his balcony overlooking London, he turned to me with a serious expression. Sophia, can I ask you something? I nodded, bracing myself. Who hurt you? The question was simple, but it sent a chill through me. I had told him bits and pieces about my past, about my ex-husband, but I had never fully opened up. I looked away, gripping my glass tightly. It doesn't matter anymore. Noah sighed. It does if it's still holding you back. I swallowed hard, staring out at the city lights. I loved someone who wasn't capable of loving me back the way I deserved. He made me believe I was his world, and then he threw it all away for someone else. Noah didn't say anything for a long time. Then he reached over, his fingers brushing against mine. He was a fool. A lump formed in my throat. For the first time I didn't feel like Ryan's betrayal defined me. Maybe, just maybe, I was finally ready to let someone in again. Just as I was beginning to believe in happiness again, my past found a way to creep back in. One evening while walking home from work, I received a message from an old friend back home. Sarah, hey, I thought you should know. Ryan and Emily are over. It didn't last. I froze mid-step, my heart pounding in my chest. Me, why are you telling me this? Sarah, because he's been asking about you. I clenched my jaw, anger bubbling beneath the surface. Of course he was asking about me. Ryan had never been capable of truly choosing anyone, only chasing what he thought he wanted until reality set in. I debated whether to ignore the message, to delete it and move on. But then impulsively I typed back. Me, tell him I said thank you. Sir, for what? Me, for setting me free. And with that I blocked the number. Ryan had been my past. Noah? Maybe he could be my future. A few weeks later Noah invited me to dinner. But this time it was different. There was something in his eyes that made my heart race. A nervousness I had never seen before. We sat across from each other in a quiet, candlelit restaurant, and for the first time in a long time I felt hopeful. Halfway through dinner he reached across the table, taking my hand in his. Sophia, he said softly. I know you've been hurt before. I know trust isn't easy for you anymore. But I want you to know I'm not him. And I never will be. Tears welled in my eyes. Because deep down I knew he meant it. Noah wasn't Ryan. He wasn't a man who made promises only to break them. He wasn't someone who saw love as something disposable. He was someone who saw me. And for the first time in a long time I didn't feel afraid. I squeezed his hand, a small smile tugging at my lips. I think I'm ready, I whispered. His eyes softened. Then let's start from here. And just like that I took the leap. Not just for him. But for me. Letting go isn't just about moving on. It's about making peace with the past, about understanding that some endings aren't losses, they're liberations. I had spent so long believing Ryan's betrayal had broken me, that I would never truly heal. But standing here now with a new life, a new love, and a future that was finally my own, I realized something. I wasn't broken. I had been reborn. It had been nearly a year since I walked away from Ryan. Since I chose to rebuild my life instead of drowning in the wreckage he left behind. And then, just when I thought I had closed that chapter forever, fate decided to test me one last time. It happened on an ordinary afternoon. I was strolling through a small London bookstore, fingers trailing over the spines of novels, when I heard a voice that made my blood run cold. Sophia. I froze. Fully I turned. And there he was. Ryan. For a moment it was like stepping back in time. The same familiar hazel eyes, the same confident stance. But there was something different about him now. He looked tired. Older. Like a man who had finally faced the consequences of his own choices. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice steady, controlled. "I had a business trip. I wasn't expecting to see you," he admitted, shoving his hands into his pockets. "You look good." I gave him a small, indifferent smile. "I am good." He exhaled, nodding. "Sophia. I need to say something. I owe you that much." I didn't owe him my time, but something in me, maybe the last lingering thread of closure I never knew I needed, made me stay. He looked down, then back at me. "I messed up. I know that now. I lost the best thing that ever happened to me." I tilted my head. "And?" He sighed. "And I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know. It wasn't you. It was never you. I was the one who didn't know what I wanted. And by the time I figured it out, it was too late. It should have hurt. A year ago those words would have shattered me. But now they meant nothing. I had spent so much time thinking I needed closure from him. But the truth was I had already given it to myself." "You're right," I said simply. "It was too late." He swallowed hard. Do you ever think about us?" I met his gaze without hesitation. "No." The honesty in my voice made his shoulders sag. For the first time I saw him for who he truly was, not the man I had loved, not the man who had broken me. Just a man who made a mistake he would have to live with for the rest of his life. Then I was free. I gave him a final nod, then turned and walked away. Not out of anger. Not out of bitterness. But because my past no longer had a place in my future. That night I met Noah for dinner. As I walked into the restaurant, his face lit up the way it always did when he saw me, like I was the best part of his day. And maybe, just maybe, I was. "Hey beautiful," he said, pulling me in for a kiss. "How was your day?" I smiled. It was exactly what I needed. Because I had finally closed the last door to my past. And for the first time in a long time I wasn't looking back. Sometimes betrayal feels like the end of the world. But sometimes it's just the beginning of something better. Ryan had proved his love. Then he betrayed me. Now I had found a love that didn't need proving. A love that was real, honest, and unwavering. And most importantly, I had found myself. And that was the greatest love story of all.